Okay, I'm just about to do a radiator flush. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a radiator flush through the radiator. Okay, the one I've gone with is the Nylon Radiator Flush and Clean. To do that, obviously, if you look at the back there, instructions are add contents to the radiator, run for at least 20 minutes, then you've got to stop the engine and allow it to cool and flush. Alright, so the radiator flush has gone in, the engine's been running for 20 minutes and now I've left it to cool. Next job will be to get the water out of the radiator overflow reservoir. So to do that, I'm just going to use a syringe and I'm just going to suck the water out of there, and then I'm going to have to drain the radiator. So I'll show you where the radiator drain plug is as well. So with any job, always make sure you chock your wheels when you're working on the cars. Alright, so for this job I'm going to have to go underneath the car. Depending on how much room or space you want to work on under the car, is you may need to put it up on some car stands. However, because I've got the lift on mine, there should be more than enough room to work on underneath the car. So to get to the drain, so the actual radiator drain is pretty easy to get to. You can see it's right there. You just have to unscrew it and drain the water out. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use the drain there to drain the water out of the radiator, and then you've got to drain the water out of the water block. Now this is the 4M41 engine, so it took me a little bit of time to find the engine block drain plug. What I actually had to do was remove the air hose so I could actually see it to drain the water out of the engine block. Now if you're there's actually quite a lot on the Victoria Pajero Club forum that will tell you where the plugs are. So for the 4M41, so the NT model, I'll show you where the drain plug is, but for the 4M40, which is the earlier model 3.2 turbo diesel, it's actually pretty much sits right beside the oil filter. But to get to it, I was reading on a blog that you'll need like a couple of extension bars to reach up to get it. But I'll show you for the 4M41 engine. So first of all, we've got to undo the plug. Water should start flowing out of the drain. So I'm just using an oil catch pan to get out of that. So to make it drain faster, I'm actually just going to remove the plug completely. Rescue my little plug out. Draining out of there, I'm just going to use my syringe to drain the water out of the reservoir to get it out of there as well. Alright. Okay, so I had to remove the air hose because I don't know if you can see it right down the bottom. So back behind the alternator there is, hopefully we can view it down in there somewhere. Should hopefully be able to see that there is a bolt just sticking out of the engine there. That is the water drain plug. See if I can get some more light on the matter. There it is. There is the engine block drain plug, which I'm about to undo. I'll let you know what size it is as I get it. Okay. So what I've had to do is I've had to actually make my own little extension bar to one of my ratchets because it was actually a really tough nut to crack. So I had to take off the air hose and had to move my catch can, but it's now open, so I should be able to hopefully get some water draining out of it shortly. As you may have noticed, it got a little bit later. I had to go out for the afternoon, but still got to finish the job. Sealant that I've used, also sealant, the coolant I have used is a Nylon heavy duty diesel coolant, 8 years, 1.2 million kilometres. It was a 100% concentrate, so I split that 50-50 with I added that to 5 litres of coolant to 5 litres of demineralised water, because you don't use normal tap water because that will rust your car out. So you must use demineralised water. Okay, so how do you go about refilling? Pretty simple. Yeah, you fill through the filler cap. So once you've tightened up all the bolts, so the plug's gone back into the engine, 33 Newton meters. What you do is you fill up your overflow to full, then you slowly but surely add coolant to the radiator till it's full. You start your car, you let it run for about 20 minutes till it gets to heat up temp. Then what you do is when you feel that the upper radiator hose has got hot, actually just give it a little bit of a massage. So some coolant will come out, but it's to get rid of the air bubbles in the system. At the same time, you're still leaving your heater core on while you do this, so you're making sure the whole system gets full. Once that's occurred, you then top up the radiator till it's completely full, then put your lid back on. So I've done the part where I've moved the car and run the car for 20 minutes. So now it's time to do the final fill. Now I find it much easier to use a funnel. These actually are from Super Cheap Auto. They're actually really useful. They actually fit quite well and nicely into most things I've found on cars, and also the lids of these. So you need to put some back in. So yeah, so we just slowly fill it up. Oh, there we go. That's full. Didn't need too much more. So the lid will go back on that. The radiator cap will go back on. And what will happen is from this point on, I will keep an eye on it to make sure that if it needs more fluid, I'll just keep topping it up. And make sure you use the same fluid to top up that you actually use to fill it. You don't want to mix your coolants, which is the reason why we flushed it in the first place.